Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Namaskar. This is this is Engineer Suraj Singh speaking from Bharat, India. On this day, January 12, 2022, Wednesday, मैं सूरज सिंह भारत इंडिया से बोल रहा हूँ। आज दिनांक जनवरी 12, 2022, मंगलवार 3:55 सुबह के Sunday morning time 3:55. Back to you about continuation of talk on quality, talk on how to do it, and title is same as usual, comprising mainly specifically issue of quality, safety and materials. And title is quality, complete specifications, civil field engineering, engineers and life or life engineers, and our AnnexSL, that is system quality, quality system, structure according to 2015 ISO 9001, Red, Silver, White books, of course designs and construction and contracts, and certain issues if come in picture, if comes picture of disputes or and communication coordination. And you can see my address, my reference, and that every day I show my enrollment as member of Institution of Engineers in capacity as fellow, and here is International Professional Engineer Certification under IPEA International Agreement, and this is my communication email. If you are interested or if you have any interest to raise some question or some clarification or comment or give some suggestions about my presentation or these presentations I've been making, I've been working on for about 2 years or more than 2 years. I started these presentations since I think January or February 2019. 19 has gone, 20 has gone, 21 has gone. So it's around 2 years or 3 years you can say, and you have every right, every privilege to raise questions or to seek clarification, and whatever it is, you have every right to check what I do. Maybe it is fake, maybe it is not competent, or it doesn't convince you. Every question can be raised so that I can respond to that, and it should be raised on this email, not phone number, because phone numbers I often don't respond, those who are unknown. So this email ID, as you can see, Suraj_engineer, SUREJ_engineer, ENGINER, and of course yahoo.co.uk. You are most welcome to respond to, and you can see this certificate of INTPE, that is called International Professional Engineer, and this certificate is valid up to September 30, 2025, is in current force. And here is of course regular charter engineer certificate based on corporate membership of Institution of Engineers India, and here is certificate of fellowship or fellow membership, and here is quality in Bharat India that I am going to start with, and here is a file which is, you can say, an interesting topic because it involves various terms of concrete. And close this certificate now. While you file open, and it is certificate of let me say, I close this, I give certificate of fellow, also close it, and I can say C certificate, I close it, and now it's quality in Bharat India, which I have made some amendments, and title is same, quality in Bharat India, India approach is redefined, and I did on yesterday 11 January 2022 some amendments to this, some editing to this, and added something. I'm talking about quality in Bharat India, and particularly in this, of course, the quality is questionable all over the world, but I'm interested currently in my own country, and that is Bharat, India, Republic of India, Bharat Ganarajya we call it, Bharat Ganaraje, Bharat is the name in Hindi and India is name in English according to Constitution of India, Bharat ka Samvidhan. Question is, where does quality exist? I start with name Republic of India or Bharat ka Samvidhan because I consider that document which was published in 1950, which was actually brought into force in 1950, it was published in 1949. That document at that time, you imagine, in 1949, when there was nothing, you can imagine, just post getting freedom from British. In 1947, this document was enforced in 1950, January 26, 1950, and that January 26 is yet to come just after exactly 2 weeks, or you can say 14 days, today is January 12, and that is 26th is coming, and that day we celebrate our Republic Day or Ganatantra Divas, because this document was started, or you can say it was brought into force, full force. That document, when I go through this and everybody knows about it, is a kind of, if you keep in scale of that time, not current scale, it's very comprehensive document, very comprehensive piece of, or you can say, prime law of this nation. It is called first law of nation, Bharat India, principal law, or you can say directing law, or whatever you can call it. And it says, we people of this country, Bharat India. It starts with like that on preambles. Having resolved something, or you can say, you can go through and see that, that's not part of this talk. So it is Bharat India Constitution, and this is very comprehensive document covering generally rights and privileges of every citizen, and how system of our government, system of our country as federal unit works. At that time it was only about 300 million people. Now it is 1,300 million people, 130 crores or 1,300 million people. I think an explosion of 4 times or 4.5 times if you compare to that population magnitude. Now it is. But this document, why I am referring to, not because of engineering, but because of some other reason, and that is still, it is considered very qualitative document. Qualitative in sense, it has got complete contents which suit purpose still today. Of course, there have been many amendments, more than hundreds, but amendments are part of life. Amendments are incorporated, these are designed to keep something empowered currently, and it should not be functionless. Changes always occur in life, and those changes must be contained, and those changes must be incorporated into our lifestyle so that it doesn't impact, something doesn't become obsolete. And same is status of our this law document, which in fact rules our country law. Our country is ruled by this document, Constitution of India, and this is kind of quality system, we can say, we follow, and it's being followed. Of course, there are certain impurities that have erupted into this due to some other reasons. This is political reasons. I'm not interested in that. My reference is only to quality. What is quality? If I have some book and that book has some subject, some title, and that title and contents fit in together, remain suitable until I read that book fully, or you can say I understand whole book, and I see title of that book and contents are compatible, and I can say, okay, fine, this is well designed book, author has done service to society, and I can say that is quality service. Its quality is not because that book is saleable or not saleable, that this book communicates to reader, communicates to author what that say, communicates to both, you can say, what author intends to express and what reader wants to achieve from that or extract from that book. Both should be, you can say, compatible. If reader is happy, audience is happy, if author has done its job, we can say this is quality related. But point lies in that people do not value that, people value something. What is value of its sale? How many books have been sold? That is commercial angle. My angle is different. Does this book contain what it states on title? Sometimes titles are misleading just for purpose of sale, but contents are quite different. That should not happen. That's what I say. If I say quality, it should contain quality. It must contain quality. I should not ask question, where does quality exist? But now I am asking this question because quality does not exist. Quality is not something that can be extracted automatically. Quality is a world within a world. It's a world within a world and then within a world. There is no termination of definition of quality. We can go on expressing it from various angles and from various limitations. It can be delimited, it can be demarcated depending upon requirement and depending upon affordability of one. Sometimes we keep it in sections and sometimes we take it all over. Point is that what we want to do. As I said in this page, what about major material being concrete in structure? I start with concrete. Concrete has two meanings. It's a material as well as it is indication that concrete is also a state of existence. Material as far as concerned, it is engineering material, and a state of existence is concerned, it is something you can say everything should have concrete standard. Concrete state means solid state, means there should be no flexibility. It should cover requirement. It can be whatever material, it can be whatever work. We say, oh, it's concrete one, it is solid one, it is powerful one. So question is, what about major material being concrete in structures? We are talking of structures, but every material, every part of life has certain structures, you can say. When you are in school, you are in education mode, there is a structure of education. When there is also structure of higher education, there is structure in every branch of studies, every branch of education, arts, science, engineering, whatever you take. Computers nowadays also is a part of science and engineering. So there is structure in education and there is also existence of a structure in our society. Of course, that is not that type of structure which should be, but it is a structured one. There is structure in governance, there is structures in management, there is structures in organizations, and nothing is free of structures, though structures exist, but sometimes we note that or sometimes we do not note that. Every work has some structure, every activity has some structure. So here structure means everything. Structure, engineering structure or social structure or political structure, or you can say world structure, international structure, national structure, state structure, home structures, family structures, relation structure. Something has been named accordingly. I don't go to that one. Here I keep confined to concrete and civil engineering structures and also engineering structures. What about major materials that are often permanently included in structures and buildings everywhere on all projects? What about major materials? You know major materials? I mean, our structures, it can be whatever kind of a structure. materials are used permanently. We should not forget that. Permanently means we cannot define for how many years, but as far as long as this can be used, are used for returns. Returns means service. In these structures, which can be whatever sort of structures and on whatever sort of projects. It may be buildings everywhere, and building is also a verb. It's not only building is a structure, we can call build up. So whatever work we do, it's also called build up. So building everywhere on all projects, we can say. Now, what about engineering materials? We refer to what about engineering materials? Being used to produce various hundreds parts goods in manufacturing, because it is after all engineering materials that are named, and these are used in manufacturing of goods or parts, and which may be in hundreds, various hundreds even. There's no one, no two, hundreds of every machine, every product or whatever you can say has got many parts which are assembled for performance of circuit. And what's provision by government to force productions and constructions be delivered with quality compliance. When we say what's provision means it's a proposal kind, means it's not necessary it's done, but it has to be done. It requires to be done or operated, we can say, just like we say it's a provision in this statute or in this act or law. This means there's a provision, it should be done, it can be done. It can be operated by, but who has to operate that? It can be secretary of that department or ministry. Same way we say here, function of government is to operate provisions. That's function of government. Government is not enacting body, it's not legislative body as far as statutes are concerned. Provisions are made in statutes which may be necessary at that time when the statute was enacted or may not be necessary. But when time comes, this must be implemented, and that implementation is based on provisions of those clauses or articles in those acts. And that's why I say what is provision by government means what is support that government has to do for people. Was provision by government force productions and constructions be delivered with quality compliance. There should be some provision in whatever related laws that government has to do its job. Whatever materials people get, whatever delivery of goods people get, that should be quality one. We cannot leave it exclusively to business people or to commercial people, because after all, this agency of government exists in between customer and manufacturer. A kind of state it is, you can say, responsible, a kind of means making sure, ensuring body that people are not deceived. You get my point? There is no direct function of government, but controlling function exists, because customer cannot control these people, these manufacturers and industrialists. There should be some mechanism meant for both, or you can say kind of quality mechanism, that how to make sure quality is generated. So question is, what's provision by government to force production and constructions be delivered with quality compliance? That's one part. You cannot say it's not job of government. Government is a kind of connection, you can say. I'm not saying they are directly responsible, but public and manufacturer are two entities. Someone should make sure that both entities do their job, and manufacturer should not violate rights of, should not suppress rights of customer or end user, because payment is given to manufacturer or industrialist for products. Even if these are free, say, I'm just joking, even these are free, products are products, these should function. The question is, what can be certain reason that quality requirement is being ignored by nation? If somebody doesn't accept this question, I don't mind. Maybe that person does not have idea about quality, so that cannot be fault of person, Again I say it's fault of system. And system means government. System means public. System means system. If somebody is not well educated, is not well informed, in that case we can say it's not fault of system, it's not fault of anyone, it's fault of education. Government has not provided, government did not arrange about dissemination of information, and when there is no dissemination of information, how can you expect that requirement information, requirement profile reaches everybody? It's a big job. The people should know about something. In every country, it's not only in our country but also everywhere. People are same all over the world. Governments are specifically appointed. Government's job is to let people know what should be achieved, what should be done. If somebody spends money to buy something, that something should be clear in specifications, and it stands everywhere. Standards are available, codes are available, and those define what should be done. But problem lies in that everybody cannot read them. Everybody has no time or no interest to go through all codes, because there is not one or two or three codes in countries. Hundreds and hundreds of codes are there in profession, and only those who are professionals, who may know something about them, even professionals are not aware of that, because there is a volume, immense volume of codes. But whatever it is, question again comes back to square one. Who is responsible? I would say all agencies are responsible: buying agency, selling agency, and controlling agency. It's very easy to say government has no role. It's very easy to say. Just to shed our responsibility, we can say, even though it's not defined in some law, even though it's not defined in constitutional statutes, responsibility is moral one, responsibility is human one. We are people and they are government, but we should not forget government is also people. Government is for people and by people. So government is also people, and people appoint government, people spend money on governments in form of taxes, and it's the job of government to make sure that quality is achieved. It doesn't matter there is quality ministry or no ministry, but quality is a part of life. It should be a part of life. We have no right to spoil materials. We have no right to those people who do not understand to spoil them. People are ours, quality is ours, and it's question of international national reputation that we are a quality producing country or we are a dust country, or you may say condoned country. Sometimes people say don't buy metal from this country because there has no quality in that system. Well, I don't generally speak an open one. I can't speak like that. There may be some problem in that country, or maybe we don't understand system that they conduct, because we don't have our own system. Our country is big one, is a knowledge society, you can say. Our country, India, Bharat, is not that one which was 100 years before or 60, 70 years before. It's now a different world. People are well educated. You will find millions professionals in our country. We have magnitude, but we don't have direction. You know what I mean? We know we have power, but we do not know how to use that power. We have so many educated youth, so many professionals in every field. But what we miss is, we don't want to value ourselves. We don't know what's our valuation. Really, it's bad. It's very bad. For example, there are 6 members, 5 members in a family, all are educated, but they don't understand each other, because either they are too educated, too having excessive knowledge, or knowledge is not coordinated properly, or they don't understand minds of each other. We are better than, at least still better, because we are people. We have all categories of people, There are people who are intelligent in work but not in education, and there are people who are well educated but they are not very practical in positive sense, not in negative sense. They do not know what is nation, and when self-orientation comes into play, when self-goal comes to play, in that case we can say national goal is overlooked. That's what happens. We are a nation and we know it, but we only understand nation when impact is done on our emotions. If we are in emotion, we unite together, but when we are not in emotion, we do not unite together. We do not use mental state, unfortunately. Yes, there are some people who use, I can't say all, then 10% people or 5% people maybe there who can use, but in general, those who are educated, they too are interested only in survival. Whatever job they do, whatever business they do, they are interested only in that. My continuation should be positive. I need not worry about nation, that in fact, that state, that thought, that contemplation exists. I can't deny the fact, and you also can't deny the fact. Instantly they can be united during some problems, but otherwise fragmentation exists. Nobody thinks of the fragmentation. Nobody thinks of that. Even you may be politician, you may be professional, engineer, doctors. Everybody has its own world. And when it happens, there's something wrong somewhere in system. And ultimately, we suffer, everybody suffers. So what can be reason? We can say, what can be reason that quality requirement is being ignored by nation? I think self-interest, self-advancement, self-promotion, self-survival, self-sustainability, and everything that goes as self. My family, self-family, my promotion, my sister, my brother, my father, my this, my that. And when everything comes to your own world, you can't say that movement is right. National movement is not right. If I consider nation as a project, if I consider my nation as a project in world, that project does not move accordingly it should. So we can say, what reason does exist that engineers are not able to conduct required role towards quality domain? I am referring to engineers because engineers means all branches of engineers, whatever discipline, sub-discipline, whatever branch they belong to. Engineers all over the world are first in location who are responsible to change society. I used to study social changes in my schoolings, social change in social sciences, in sociology, or in other subjects. Social change. There is no change in society, in fact. It is change in conduct. It is change in contemplation. It is change in action. Because nature can't be changed. Natural system can't be changed. We have to change, means we have to adapt to new requirements if these are good for society. Engineer is a person. Engineer is not, it's not magical, but it is really magical, in fact, that thinking power of an engineer, thinking power of a doctor, thinking power of an intellectual are somewhat higher than ordinary educated persons. Because thinking of an engineer leads to development, good nation, healthy nation. Thinking of doctor leads to good health. But thinking by others lead to in between somewhere for self-promotion, rarely national promotion, understanding of quality domain that is a must is not available. Why? Don't know reason for that. Quality to me does not mean engineering world. It doesn't mean specific world. It's everywhere. Quality, as I said, in education, quality of an individual, quality of a product, quality of a process, quality of talk, quality of walk, and you can say quality of standards, and quality of quality itself. We have to innovate, we have to find where is fault. In spite of fact that we have, I think, highest number of engineers in our country, maybe if not first one, second highest. If you keep ourselves on scale of China, then maybe we are second, but we are more inclined toward learning. We are. We are more interested in having degrees and degrees and degrees. I have noticed that. And I think it becomes a part of personality. So, see, this person is having how many degrees? This person has engineering degree, he has management degree, he has engineering post-graduation, he has engineering doctorate. I think we stop ourselves at that point, which is wrong. It's just a station, it's not a journey. If I say I have got engineering degree, okay, fine, it's enough. If I want to think, I have capacity to think. If I possess, okay, I am not saying don't have degrees, but you can't measure your personality based on degrees only. Personality can be measured only in your performance. Do you perform that? If you can't perform based on these degrees, maybe you say I am not given opportunity. Fine, that's okay. Opportunity must be made, it must be made available. But even then who have opportunities, what they have done? Okay, I excuse them who don't have opportunity. But who have got opportunities, what they have done? My point goes to universities. There are, innumerable professors. You cannot say that they are less qualified educationally, academically, PhDs, at least PhDs, MEs or MTechs or post-graduation. No, they are only qualified repeatedly to teach students every year. Particularly in engineering, in engineering education, where practice is more important, work is more important, and if we do not work in engineering, we cannot develop anything. Just keeping books knowledge with you and all time referring to books, I don't think it's engineering. We have many books, we know, but books are also references. If you read some book of engineering, which is not actually text one, which is reference one, you will find in that paper or book, so let us say there are 100 pages of that book, you will find in beginning few pages, say 10 pages, and at 10, 20 pages full of references. This book I reference to, means that's something you are just collecting information and expressing your views on that. That's fine, professional, it's okay. But achievement is another point. Result, orientation. What we get by studies is result orientation. And engineering is something which is result oriented and not imaginary result orientation. Field results, practical results, output, product. That product we must get. And that product comes from facts. It doesn't come from talk in air. It comes from work. Work on ground, not in air. Work using materials, using technology, using human resources, using machines, which all cost money. We have to deliver results. And if even there is 0.5% lapse, it amounts to something. We can't say this amounts or this is within tolerance limit. Tolerance limit is for something that humans are erroneous, they can cause errors. But if we can do work to very accuracy system, extremely accuracy system, then tolerances should be avoided. I'm not saying to generalize this issue, but to maintain quality, we should think that way. I also know that civil engineering is not that accurate word where millimeter accuracy works, but mechanical engineering, or you can say electronics, or you can say atomic physics, all those work in negative even. So accuracy is very important. Even 0.1 millimeter, 0.1 millimeter can make some job not fitable. But 0.1 millimeter in construction is not significant. Even sometimes 3 millimeter, 2 millimeter, 4 millimeter, or sometimes say 5 millimeter are acceptable because of practicality of work. How can quality be controlled and systems worked out for best organizations in this regard? That's another question. How to control? How can quality be controlled and systems worked out for best organizations regard? It's also a question. If that question is to be understood, I'm asking question to be understood, I'm not giving answers, then we have to decide what should be role of engineers in all branches of engineering. Because system is devised by engineers, for work. It means we have to devise our role, and role of engineers, which is not old one, it changes from time to time. Role of engineers in all branches of engineering, it's not one or two branch now. Usually there were 3 branches in past. If you go records or see records on engineering, we used to generally say civil engineer, electrical engineer, mechanical engineer. Electrical and mechanical only came when machines started in world and electricity were powerful, but before that the role of engineer was called civil. So you can say what should be role of engineers in all branches of engineering. The roles are defined. I can't say these are not defined, but if you think in quality terms, these are not defined, I would say. These roles are defined only in production terms and whatever quality inbuilt. But care of that is not taken up. Care is not done. That's why I'm saying, why then materials are not working if we have set roles? Either roles are obsolete or there are some lapse in research, or information is missing, or procedure is missing. There could be whatever reason. We can't change natural materials. We can't change system, but we have to understand, and once we understand, then we can improve it. And that's all. That is engineer's role. We have to decide, we have to define, we have to think of exactly where there should be change and what should be role of workers. Of course, workers are most reliable. You can say worker is most reliable component in the system, much more important than all other resources, because worker is functionary. If function is to be done, it's worker. So I can say worker is main constituent of this production or of engineering. When we talk of engineering, it is worker that is root, it is worker that is front, that is bottom, that is top, that is side, and this side. Without worker, there can be no engineer. Without worker, there can be no project. Without worker, there can be no output. In that case, what should be role of workers to handle instructions in this regard? Is quality requirement so difficult that Professionals ignore it. Is quality requirement so difficult that professionals ignore it, or they remain under pressure? They remain under pressure. Is that point right? Is quality requirement so difficult? I think there's a question. Why to ignore it? Why to be under pressure? And otherwise, question is, can we people digest bad quality in goods? Can we digest? Well, people have been digesting. This means we can digest. The question is, we can digest or not. My question is, can people digest? But answer is, we have been digesting bad quality in goods, products, and in construction, and they name it compromise, or they name it practicality. New words, new inventions. Oh, you are not practical. Oh, you don't know how to compromise. Sometimes people say that in my own connections, people say, oh, compromise. What is compromise? Compromise. Means even it affects your body, you compromise. Can you compromise if you break your leg and live accordingly? Can you compromise if you break your arm and live accordingly? How do you say compromise? And how do you say, oh, you are not practical, you are theoretical? Be practical. Believe me, these two terms, practical and compromise, have broken our system. You don't know how to compromise. Oh my God. You don't know how to move on it. You don't know how to do it. This means you accept whatever is. You accept whatever is going on. Don't intervene, don't interfere. Because you can't do anything. What is to go on is to go on. If you change, if you intend to change, then you are not part of the system. You are different. You are not fittable. The system can't accept you. Means if system is not good for you, you have to accept that. You have no right to alter it, to change it. This means they don't accept you as an engineer, they accept you as without engineers. You may be qualified, but you should move with people. That is, philosophy sometimes in this country. Can we people digest bad quality in goods, products and construction? Yes, we can. That's my answer. It's very horrific answer. This is neither good at national level nor good at international level. How can I digest something which is not in accordance with quality requirement? But people digest it because they see with eyes only. What I say is, those people who have physical eyes, they can see skies, but they cannot understand skies. You use your eyes only for physical view, not for real view. We see what's happening as engineering, that's a problem. Just like when you go to see some film, or you see film, this is hero, this is heroine, this is story, this is villain, but you do not say who is behind that. A structure lies behind that. Producer, writer, director, designer, script writer. So many intellectuals work behind that. If I fit in system according to public requirement, according to contractors requirement, according to manufacturer's requirement, I am practical. Practical of what? Practical of, you never studied that. I never studied that you have to accept everything, but I have to accept everything. This means I condemn my studies, I condemn my theoretical education. Our one professor used to tell everything about construction, what you have to do, what you are not to do. He explained everything, he used to explain everything, explanatory or you can say elaboratory, in entertaining mood, but at the end he used to say, Don't worry about all this. Forget all this and do what your boss says. And this was a conclusive statement. Of course, shockingly. Don't worry about what I said. It's only for information purpose. It's only for passing examination purpose. But do accordingly. Don't don't displease your boss. Keep your boss happy. Keep your boss happy is quality in our system, to be very frank. Keep others happy is a quality criteria in our system, to be very frank. Do not disappoint anyone. Do not disappoint politicians, do not disappoint ministers, do not disappoint professionals, do not disappoint your family, do not disappoint anybody. Appoint everyone. Appoint everyone. What does it mean? You have to keep everybody happy, that's all. Forget quality, forget work, forget everything, keep everyone happy to survive. Means physical survival is more important than quality survival. Got it? Quality survival is not important. Physical survival is important. Your family should move. You should move. Your earning should continue. Don't worry about others. Don't worry about your colleague. Don't worry about anybody. Don't worry about your nation. Just enjoy life. Right? This is conclusion of this question. Can we people digest bad quality in goods, products in construction? Then I say yes. We are not good, we are best. We are best in accepting everything. We have that qualification in our society. We can accept every right as wrong, and we can say every wrong is right. What's the role of government in this regard? Government role is that government says go on making whatever you want to do and make corruption, do corruption, enjoy corruption, and participate with us, share with us. That is role of government in this regard, right? If you are a corrupt, then because we represent you, we too are corrupt. You are a corrupt, okay, no problem. Share with us your corruption. If you are honest, don't come to me. Don't come to me. I can't please you. Don't go to someone else. Don't go to anyone else. That also can't please. You can't please him. System is well defined, but it doesn't work. To what it is definition? To its definition doesn't work. It's well defined. Only for purpose of display. Only for purpose of exhibition. Corruption is of blood. Corruption exists in our blood cells, in our DNA. So what government can do? Government is just imagination. Government is just a group of people to help service, not do service. We say if public is not happy with quality, why should government be? What should be the role of customer, or consumer, or end user in this relation? We are all customer, we are all end users, we are all consumers. Where's question? We accept everything, and that's where definition of quality exists in our country. Really unpleasing, and this is a fact of life. Fact of life. You can't deny this fact. We have to establish quality system. Why what? Why should we establish then? Question is, we have to establish quality system and quality procedural approach while conducting design, planning and prosecution of execution of works. Who shall do it? It's a proposal, it's a requirement, it's a specification, it's a demand of future time, because I cannot name current time future. But what does it mean when I say we have to establish quality system? You would say it's already established. Yes, it's established. It is functioning. First of all, show me where does it establish. Is it? Where is it? On certificates or in structure? Yes, on certificates you have. I think you can't count number of certificates that are functioning, that are available, that are in force. But these certificates are in force without any substance. They are force only in writing. They are force only in notifications. Yes, they are in force on walls in some framework. They are in force in declaration, but not in function. I must say function. Function of that certificate is to work according to quality requirement, according to description requirement. That has failed. If you compare quality today and quality that exists a couple of decades before, you will find that it was better than system. That quality was better than current system. And now system may be there at international level, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work. You can see system cannot move without communication and coordination. Communication and coordination are anchors for system. Self-devised anchors without any requirement of specification. Nothing can move without adequate communication, continuation of communication, and enrollment, or you can say use of coordination. Unfortunate it is that this is not happening. I have seen it many times during dealing with people. People are not interested in coordination. They are only interested in baseless communication. Baseless. You can raise this question, why I am saying baseless? There's no need of raising this question also, because you know all, but you don't realize that, you never know that. Excessive communication is no use if there exists no coordination. You might have noticed from various agencies you get calls, mobile calls, from various advertisers, various publicity people, whatever branches of life, in whatever sector of life. You only get calls, you do not get something else. And sometimes you are irritated also. All times I am getting calls. Means publicity, part of publicity, which you don't want to get, but you get calls. And when you want something to talk to you and you talk to him, that talk to you, then you talk about some conclusion, okay, I have to do this. And same, again it is, next time also you got same call. It happens for same thing or 3 or 4 calls. It is because of mobile. No record, no communication, coordination. Nobody knows what other one is doing. This means coordination doesn't exist. You can experience yourself. No need explaining this. You can try. But you have to note it, you have to understand it, how many calls I got for this, for nothing. Means a system that is devised, but it's not function, it doesn't function. People don't understand value of coordination, believe me. People don't understand. Why? Coordination is not something structured one. It's a requirement. If I do same thing again and again and again, what's the meaning of that? If I say, oh, this is a problem, then again I say, okay, after 5 minutes, this is a problem. Or what's your problem? Or did you get answer of this? Without working on that, you are asking, did you answer? Give me feedback. You got my point. Nothing moves, no solution is reached, but this give me feedback. Do you understand this? Means your problem still exists. Your grievance still exists. Nobody cares for that. But they ask you, give me feedback. And the guy calls, okay, there's a complaint. What happened to that? Means you complain to someone and they ask you what happened to that. They are problem solvers, but they are asking you, Did something happen? What do you call it? Is it real coordination or useless coordination? Means they themselves do not know what's happening. This means system, whatever is established only for, we can say, inactions, not for actions. That system structure is inactive. Only for show, they talk to you. See, this call is important for us because this can be recorded for our audit system, for our internal system. But for what? There is no system. Your system is futile. There is no one to analyze what's happening. Only talking, talking and talking. Can talks help? Can talks help? No. You have to do work. You have to work on that. That doesn't happen, unfortunately. That doesn't happen, unfortunately, and that's why my point is destined. We did not establish system. Actually, that's a fact. And it's not only in this advertisement issue, it's everywhere. It applies to all. In civil engineering, it applies. You can say particular atmosphere is very different. I have seen. If I talk to designers, they are not interested in site work. If you talk to site people, they are not interested in designs. If you talk to planning people, they are not interested in work of site or work in design. If you talk to quality people, they are not interested in site work. So I will only check my work. Or you can say, in every field, you will find that isolation. I call it isolation, really. It's kind of COVID isolation. Yes, it is. I apply COVID to this profession. Actually, our system is COVID now. You may laugh on this, but that's a fact. System is system always when it collaborates with other system. We can take example of our body. If our body is not one system, it's a factory, it's a plant. You got my point? Human body is like very big plant with big facilities. Though it's very small in size, but it's more powerful than some plant works because so many systems work together in our body. Every organ has one system. There are so many systems, just like doctors say multi-organ failure. It's multi-system failure actually. So we have many systems, and those systems do not connect with each other, but body system is not in human control, and that's why it works together. It's naturally coordinated permanent system. You cannot change this function until you leave this world, because then your body becomes breathless, it doesn't have any power, it becomes soil. So quality system works only when quality itself is structured. So quality system is structured, but quality is not structured, unfortunately. And this is also claimed that this system, this quality system, whatever it may be, does not claim that product shall be quality one. Then what's function of system? You say we have this system, we have that system, we have this protocol, that protocol, but result is zero. Why? Because a protocol is only protocol. It's not real call. It's null. It doesn't meet real requirement. People have become parrot-like, There are few answers, set answers to set questions, just like we see on computers in help column. What is your question? This is answer. And if this is your question, this is answer. And if this is your question, this is answer. Means you have done simple analysis and answered that, and you do not know beyond that. You don't know beyond that. If you sometimes raise questions to those customer helpline, they will say, okay, this I do not know, this I cannot answer. You go to there, do this. So my proposition is again same. We have to establish quality system. Yes, we have to establish quality system. And quality procedural approach important because without quality procedure approach we cannot stand anywhere. And we conduct design, we conduct planning or prosecution or execution of works. Whatever we do, we should have complete reliance on that requirement on based on quality system or procedural approach. That is hard job in fact. Do not depend on what your establishment management says or your organization says, because yes, they may be experts in, they have been working for decades, but everything is not clear to everyone. Whatever is given to site people, in fact in construction I'm talking, whatever is given to site people, you think they do accordingly? I don't think they do accordingly. They use their experience, they do use their working knowledge, their practical knowledge. It may be right or wrong, they don't think so. They don't care for that. They do work, and that's it. This means your system is not respected. Because your system is respectless, it has deficiencies in that. You have not taken into consideration views of those who work on front, who are part of line organization, line working, or you may call line management. Because their procedures are within them. Those procedures are not noted on documents. You do not value them, but they value them. Those have not been scrutinized, not been analyzed properly. So you can say your quality system that you defined is only titular. Is only titular. Therefore, audit done on that is also titular. Virtually, there is no meaning of system if it is not powerful, if it's not forcible, if people do not understand it. Because work is done by people, not by system. We have to be very clear about that. In whatever system it may be design, planning, prosecution of works. Then who shall do it? Who shall do it? My question remains as it is. No answer, back to square one. Answer is that it is pragmatism of engineers that would handle it. And when I say pragmatism of engineers, this means engineers have to do it based on experience or knowledge, based on theoretical knowledge, based on problem solution knowledge, because capacity of solving problems is property of engineers, is soul of engineers to solve problems, and solving problems is not taught in engineering education at university level. There is only theory and practical related, not solutions and questions and answers, not problems and solutions. This engineer has to do in working experience, to learn from others, to think and to do itself for doing job. Once engineers do that, I think engineers also feel differently. Then I think they say they don't value much about books. They say, okay, you have to learn it. The only point remains what you have to learn. Sometimes wrong is also learned while you learn, because we cannot differentiate what's right and what's wrong, and we learn wrong also. And that point sometimes costs, But that is rare. When engineers work in field, they know a lot about materials, they know a lot about difficulties, problems they face, and those problems they solve on sites to maximum possible extent. And after that they close that chapter. And that is where point lies in. They learn a lot on sites in works, but that learning is not booked in. Sometimes because of many reasons they don't tell anybody, and that goes in dark history. A person who comes afresh is not given exposure of those problems, and that's where some failure comes in. Means we caused mistakes, we repaired mistakes, we corrected mistakes, or we can say we remedied them. But what we remedy, that is not taught to others. That information is not transmitted. Therefore, when I say that it is pragmatism of engineers that would handle it, it should not be pragmatism of one engineer, it should be pragmatism of community of engineers. But you see, this doesn't happen. Where practical difficulty comes in, where two failures appear, these are not published openly, maybe secretly. Solutions and problems are not disseminated to engineering community in right way. Of course, research papers are issued, but those are meaningless for engineering community because these are given in extreme details which ordinary engineers cannot understand. Even if they want to understand, they don't have time to understand. So what I say, not only civil engineering but also all other engineering operations must be oriented towards achieving quality objectives. I read sometimes many such notes on internet about quality. What I was looking for, I did not get. Only is we should do that, we should do this, we should do management, should do organize. Well, same parrot talks. Parrot talks as parrot solutions and parrot answers. When I say parrot means you cram something and go on speaking again and again without thinking, without reference to thinking. We have to be very careful about this. I can explain a lot, but that is no meaning. And it's never too late also, we can say. It's never too late. For development has to go on continuously, by which satisfaction must be obtained while performing engineering activities in organizations. Management that only talks, management, or you can say that organization, controllers you may say, if not managers, controllers, because I don't like this word management. This is something, it's forced term. What is management? We have to say organization, we have to say controllers. Real word that only talks, management only talks, that only talks of results. You can't simply say results, you should talk of total movement. You have to reach results. You cannot say, I only want result. I only want result. No. Management only talks of results without heavily or intensively weighing quality approach, and sequential results cannot be relied upon. Without achieving set quality requirements, no development can be sustainable and durable in long run. As it is often said that civil construction matters a lot all over during total development scenario, where civil engineer works as ab initio, first principle starter. That professional must be strong enough with determination commitment to give quality as intended to be delivered with product, so that other entrants may for sure follow suit. Other entrants may for sure, I think may is wrong, it's MY here by mistake, it should be MAY, for sure follow suits respecting other disciplines or branches. Engineers have to decide, to determine forever that quality cannot be taken for granted, and that have to work per engineering demands and requirements. I'm just certain amendments to previous one. So just a minute, let me put off switch of battery. It's fully charged. Why to keep it charged? Let's keep it off for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Sorry. I'm a tired person. Very cold. About 5-6 degrees. So here is that say no seriousness has been observed among engineers from all branches about quality requirement with no reason. I don't know reason behind that. No seriousness has been observed among engineers, again I say, from all branches about quality requirement with no known reason. No material in market is available that can give quality performance. No material is market is available, no material market is available that can give quality performance, yet quality mark is owned by material manufacturer. How is it possible? This means that quality certification is not perfect. Whether or not private or government, quality exists nowhere but in lip service only or in publicity just to deceive purchasers. I am sure that engineers have forgotten quality or they did not study about what does quality mean. Every organization is certified. Every organization is certified by quality system, but existence of quality is poor. Government least bothers because it doesn't care for engineering and engineering products, but only for profits and gains from corporates. Companies least bother because they are commerce and business oriented. They believe only in shortcut earning methods. No long-term vision is owned by majority owners. Professional engineers never ever bother because they have gotten no independent standings and are unable to fight against abuse of quality system and tacitly support misleading publicity. Engineers are not well trained to an extent quality is concerned because quality cannot be learned in theory alone. And also, just computers use cannot bring quality input into products. Thousands of designers and executives are available, but never deliberate quality for which reasons are unknown. I could not understand reason behind that, why quality deliberations do not go on. Is this what we do call engineering? I call it engineering failure. Maybe you call it engineering. Really fed up with nation's continuous silence on this issue. Talking of so many million trillion economy, imaginary ideas only. Shall we reach this target without quality inclusions? That is a very big question. How about? I do not answer, I do not know. Civil engineering domain is located at top of scenario in delivering unacceptable standards. I am saying in delivering unacceptable standards. Try to understand this point. Civil engineering domain is located at top in delivering unacceptable standards. Where is it should deliver topmost deliverables? Civil engineering products are meant for use during decades to come. That's fact, Only civil engineering products are meant for use during decades to come, while other products are used only for few years. This is of course repetitive sentence. This means quality responsibilities lie on civil engineers, including structural engineers specifically. But it doesn't happen in reality. Engineers have become only design oriented and no commitment robots. No commitment robots, I am saying, rather than being practical and pragmatic professionals. Institutions have become non existent. Government is non existent. Government is non existent, I can say. IEI has failed in doing its job, and all other NGOs, societies, institutions have entirely become septic. Engineers do not have communication and coordination skills, and that's also unfortunate, which are first stage activities to know about what is required to be done factually and not just by hypothecation or by speculation. Engineers do not have struggling and encountering skills. Engineers do not have struggling and encountering skills currently, for which reasons are unknown. For which reasons are unknown. But it is also true that without engineers, development stops. Engineers have become toys in hands of government and industrialists, which amounts to an unbecoming quality development state. Youth or budding engineers must learn, or else no one shall call them engineers. Old engineers have lost their quality practical system. Those who never worked in field decide about education, specifications and engineering, and those who never experienced field decide about codes. Professors are only theoretical tutors and not pragmatic field runners. Just achieving degrees are not adequate, even if one is a doctorate. Experience, and that too quality based, must be a must. Think about quality always. Communication and coordination most significant disciplines or subjects. Written document is a must for reference, and as I usually do, just mobile use dependence is not sufficient, and long talks must be avoided so that others should not wait for respective talking turn. A total understanding of defined specifications is a must to carry out every activity, or else incorrect activity shall be performed. It is the responsibility of design specifying engineer to include demanded technical activity, quality, SHE, ergonomics, contracts and products, quality in construction, quality in production, quality in manufacturing, quality in services, quality in education, quality in society and individual, quality in communication coordination, quality required everywhere and in every activity, everywhere, in every activity, in life and in engineering. And life is engineering based, which means that engineering is domain of power, domain of super life and profession. Like medical is domain of super profession, and what we say is safety, health, environment required everywhere during manufacturing, during processing, and during all construction activities, and also during use of products and whatever services. Whereas ergonomics is a science that requires everyone about how to use available energies for doing whatever work activities in best possible safe manner, so that involved workers least impacted upon by adverse actions imposed upon by activities. These requirements are certainly must. No way to say no, no way to respond. There's no must ask yourself. No way out when without good quality compliance, without quality applications, good SHE compliance. We can say good SHE compliance applications. Nothing can move in right directions. And SHE is very first consideration on each and every activity, on each and every project, and on each and every operation, all to be supported by applications of principles of ergonomics. SHE claims as safety. First, if safety is conducted, what happens? If safety is ignored, what happens? Certainly, you can say it can certainly breach of contract provisions, and no one has got any right to give undue pains to others. No one has got any right to condemn quality requirements, because quality is also paid for and product is purchased. No safety, no pain, and no safety, no pain. No quality, no pain, and no quality, no need pain. Quality has to be complied with defined, specified, stated requirements within the ambit of scope of works, design valid specifications, quality ranges in elaborations depending on indicative descriptions of, and there exists no unlimited scope of quality criteria to be carried out. And we can say no future if no quality persists, and its specified requirements must be met in all respects. No excuse is admissible for quality failure, and quality is a must and must and must. We have to understand that. Engineers must realize quality facts. In particular, civil engineers have to change quality aspects of society, or else quality cannot exist. Engineer then becomes incapable, which means engineering and life due to cannot exist at all. System quality to be devised and achieved. Broken system means broken life, and linked to broken system, professional individual working capacity quality to be amended from time to time. One must be forced to amend its quality for obtaining reliability by additional learning, due teaching, and by additional knowledge dissemination. Relevant element or product defined quality to be achieved. Individuals' required attitude quality to be streamlined, and individuals' dedication to work to be applied on actions. Work commitment be made and fulfilled for delivery. All other parameters to deal with per quality requirements. Design of structures and others must be made decisive, safe, qualitative, and you can say quantitatively must be reliable for prosecutions as well as for long-term performance. Contracts must be explicitly clear and competent with having consistency, pertinent quality issues, all stages, designs being significant, but merely designs do not. Well, design doesn't alone suffice if construction and development are not affected to specified marks, required or defined quality. Requirements cannot be allowed to be ignored. Design drawings must have quality input and duly confirmed, coordinated to produce. Design drawings must have quality input and duly coordinated to produce working details, keeping average site working conditions and culture for site cannot be relied upon automatically, but provide clear notes, specify properly and explicitly in a good communicative manner. Construction based on reasonable, coordinated, constructable quality designs and safety. Contracts must be clear in all approaches. All activity must be taken care of, but it doesn't happen. Reasons being lethargy in attitude and existence of development of undue strains in mind. Why should site work suffer? Because of deficiency in designs and insufficiency in work conduct. Then they can design accountability must be fixed if accountability on constructed product or element is required. Design and construction qualities are complementary to each other, and without integrated coordination, activities worked upon shall result in lesser quality issues. Construction method statements are being must for work implementation, and therefore must be charted out professionally. Method statement of work procedure for every activity is a must, and should tell formally about what's to be done on works, and that must be done for quality realization, else there can be applied no real control on works and their form projects. Expression of specific details in convenient format for work performance and define elaborate performance, etc. Or else we can say no work can be carried out in defined and designed sequence, and because of that output suffers, resulting in bad standards of works produced. Method statements must be made necessary for activities implementation, or else many diverse ways can be adopted by site teams when condoning or overlooking necessary communication based coordination approach, and consequences would remain adverse, give bad results. Without achieving any level of uniformity and consistency, time is irrevocable, for it never comes back, lost without application of whatever required controls, unchangeable with controls cost, unchangeable, very invariable escalation risk solved. We can say risk must be foreseen for solutions. I must for damages are not tenable and must be controlled in advance. Inexperienced engineers may prove inefficient in viewing such risk-based emergencies, and therefore thorough deliberations of brainstorming must be conducted based on available data input. Risk must be clearly understood and defined to reach its necessary resolution and to convert to work convenience, or else risk can be very expensive in terms of lives and cost and then reliability. So I hold here for jumping onto other one. This is going to continue. In fact, this quality talk is going to continue. I was in this file somewhere on fog curing, fog room, which we talked as moist room. We talked of folded plate. We talked of folded plate, and you can say I just blow it further so that it's a little better than what it is now. So I can close this, in fact, if you require. Fog room, we were there, folded plates, and folded plate we define as framing assembly composed of sloping slabs. Says a framing assembly composed of sloping slabs in a hipped or gabled arrangement. Prismatic shell with open polygonal sections. So this is folded plate, framing assembly composed of sloping slabs in a hipped or gabled arrangement. Prismatic shells with open polygonal sections. And footing, a structural element of a foundation that transmits loads directly to soil. Very simple it is. Structural element, we calling a structural component or element of a foundation that transmits loads directly to soil. And form is a temporary structure or mold for support of concrete while it is setting and gaining, while it sets or gains sufficient strength to be supporting, self-supporting. Form and core. Form and core is a device. Form and core is a device, and we can say form and core is a device used to secure formwork to previously placed concrete of adequate strength, normally embedded in concrete during placements. So form and core is a device used to secure formwork to previously placed concrete of adequate strength, normally embedded in concrete during placement. So it's called form anchor. So the term we call sometimes support success. So form anchor. Again I say it's a device used to secure formwork to previously placed concrete of adequate strength, normally embedded in concrete during placement. Foam coating. Foam coating is a liquid applied to formwork surfaces to promote easy release from concrete, preserve foam material, or retard setting of near surface matrix for preparation of exposed aggregate finish. So foam coating can be defined as liquid applied to formwork surfaces to promote easy release from concrete, preserve foam material, or retard setting of near surface matrix for preparation of exposed aggregate finishes. Form hanger, device used to support formwork from a structural framework. You can say dead load forms mass of concrete, and construction impact loads must be supported. That's form anchor, because a device used to support formwork from a structural framework. Dead load forms mass of concrete and construction, and impact loads must be supported. Form insulation, insulating material applied to outside of forms between studs and over top in sufficient thickness and air tightness to conserve heat of hydration, to maintain concrete at required temperature in cold weather. So form insulation can be defined as insulating material applied on outside of forms between studs and over top in sufficient thickness and air tightness to conserve heat of hydration to maintain concrete at required temperature in cold weather. Form lining materials used to line concreting phase of formwork. Metals used to line concreting phase of formwork either to impart a smooth or pattern finish to concrete surface, to absorb moisture from concrete, or to apply a set retarding chemical to formed surface. So form lining material is used to line concreting phase of formwork. Materials used to line concrete phase of formwork either to impart a smooth or pattern finish to concrete surface or to absorb moisture from concrete or apply a set retarding chemical to formed surface. Then form oil applied to interior surfaces of forms to promote easy release from concrete when forms are removed. Is also called release agent and bond breaker. Form pressure, lateral pressure acting on vertical or inclined forms. Lateral pressure acting on vertical or inclined formed surfaces resulting from fluid-like behavior of fresh concrete confined by forms. So form pressure is also a very important term, which is a lateral pressure actually. A lateral pressure acting on vertical or inclined formed surfaces resulting from fluid-like behavior of fresh concrete confined by forms. Form release agent, as we said already, form spacer and spreader, form spreader, form tie, mechanical connection. Form tie is you may say it's a mechanical connection, form tie. A mechanical connection, we can say intention, a mechanical connection intention used to prevent concrete forms from spreading due to fluid pressures of fresh concrete. Form ties mechanical connection intention used to prevent concrete forms from spreading due to fluid pressure or from fresh concrete. Formwork is a total system of support for freshly placed concrete. Total system of support for freshly placed concrete, including mold or sheeting that contacts concrete as well as supporting members. Hardware and necessary bracing. Hardware and necessary bracing, also called shuttering in United Kingdom, and also false work and centering. Engineer contractor of formwork system or contractor in charge of designated aspects of formwork design and formwork operations. Formwork tiers, number of frames of scaffolding erected one above other. Formwork tiers, number of frames of scaffolding erected one above other. Foundation, a system of structural elements that transmits loads from structure above to earth. Foundation bolt, anchor bolt, and we can say fracture, a crack or break in concrete, a crack or break in concrete or masonry. Configuration of a broken surface, action of cracking or breaking. Free fall, descent of freshly mixed concrete into forms without drop chutes or other means of confinement. Distance through which such descent occurs, uncontrolled fall of aggregate. So free fall is descent of freshly mixed concrete into forms without drop chutes or other means of confinement. Distance through which such descent occurs, uncontrolled fall of aggregate. Free lime, calcium oxide, we generally say CaO, calcium oxide, as in clinker and cement that has not combined with SiO2, Al2O3 or Fe2O3. Calcium oxide CaO that is available in clinker and cement. As clinker and cement, we can say calcium oxide that has not combined with SiO2 silica, SiO2, Al2O3 alumina or Fe2O3 during burning process, which is not combined with during burning process, usually because of under burning, insufficient grinding of raw material, raw mixture, or presence of traces of inhibitors. So calcium oxide that has not combined with SiO2, Al2O3 or Fe2O3 during burning process, usually because of under burning, insufficient grinding of raw mixture, or presence of traces of inhibitors. Free moisture, you can say moisture having essentially properties of pure water in bulk. Moisture not absorbed by aggregate. Then free water, and we can say free moisture and surface moisture. And fresh concrete that possesses enough of its original workability that it can be placed and consolidated or compacted by intended methods. Fresno trowel, a thin steel trowel that is rectangular without rounded corners, usually 100 to 250 mm wide and 420 to 900 mm long, with 1 to 5 meter long handle, and used to smooth surfaces of non-breathing concrete and shotcrete. Friction loss, stress loss in pre-stressing tendon resulting from friction between tendon and duct or other device during stressing. Friction pile, a load-bearing pile that receives its principal vertical support from skin friction between surface of buried pile and surrounding soil. Frog, a depression in bed surface of masonry unit. Fuller's curve, Fuller's curve. Fuller's curve, an empirical curve for gradation of aggregate. An empirical curve for gradation of aggregates, grading curve. Fuller's curve. Furring, strip of wood or metal fastened to a wall or other surface to even it to form an air space to give appearance of greater thickness or for strips of wood, you can say furring, strips of wood or metal fastened to wall or other surface to even it to form an air space to give appearance of greater thickness or for application of an interior finish such as plaster. Ganged forms, Perforated panels. Perforated panels. Perforated panels, you can say, joined to make a much larger unit. 9 by 15 meter, you can say. Prefabricated panels joined to make much larger unit. 9 by 15, for example, meters. For convenience in erecting, stripping and reusing, usually braced with wells. Braced wells, strong backs, or special lifting hardware. Gagged forms. You may say gag forms. Gang. Gang. You understand that. Forms we talked of here. Now gap graded aggregate we are talking of. Gap graded aggregate. Aggregate signals are down. Same problem. Just 1 hour 40 minutes. Signals are 0. Both coming some frames only. Gap graded aggregate. You can say aggregates, or you can say aggregate graded so that portions of aggregate retained on specified intermediate sieves is substantially absent. Aggregate graded so that portions of aggregate retained on specified intermediate sieve is substantially absent. Aggregate graded so that portions of aggregate retained on specified intermediate sieves is substantially absent. So gap graded aggregate is gap in grading. You can say galenite, GEHLENIT, galenite. It's a mineral of metallic metal. Melinite. It's a mineral of malilite group. That is malilite group. Ca2Al AS Ca2Al AlSi O7. This is called malilite or marginite. Geopolymer. Geopolymer, an alternative cement. Geopolymer, an alternative cement product, or you can say produced from aluminosilicate. Geopolymer is an alternative cement produced from aluminosilicate precursors that form non-hydrated cementitious reaction produced by alkali activation. Alternative cement produced from aluminosilicate precursors that form non-hydrated cementitious reactions produced by alkali activation. Geopolymerization. Geopolymerization is spontaneous reaction that results in bonding of smaller inorganic polymers. A spontaneous reaction that results in bonding of smaller inorganic polymers to form larger ones. That is geopolymerization. Gilmore needle. Gilmore needle, a device used in determining time of setting of hydraulic cement. Device used to determining time of setting of hydraulic cement. It's called Gilmore needle. As we said before, geopolymerization is spontaneous reaction that results in bonding of smaller inorganic polymers to form larger ones. And Gilmore needle is used to determine time of setting of hydraulic cement, and we can say glass transition temperature. Going down and down and down. My God, what to do? Glass transition temperature. Come on, signals, don't waste my time. Glass transition temperature. Midpoint of temperature range. Midpoint of temperature range over which an amorphous material such as glass or high polymer amorphous material midpoint, say midpoint of what is that? I think I missed something here, right? Gilmore needle we have done. Girder, I forget to tell what's girder. A large beam, usually horizontal, that serves as main structural members. Glass transition temperature, midpoint of temperature range, midpoint of temperature range over which an amorphous material such as glass or high polymer change from or to a brittle viscous state to a plastic state. It's we call midpoint of temperature range over which an amorphous material such as glass or high polymer change from a brittle viscous state to plastic state. Go devil. A ball of rolled up burlap. A ball of rolled up burlap or paper sorry, some gastric in me. Go devil, a ball of rolled up burlap or paper or a specially fabricated device put into pump end of pipeline and forced through pipe by water pressure for clean pipeline. A ball of rolled up burlap or paper or a specially fabricated device put into pump end of a pipeline and forced through pipe by water pressure for cleaner pipeline or device used with tremie concrete operations. This is called go devil and flash setting is a term for graph setting and flash setting. And so go devil, you got it? A kind of ball that is passed through concrete pump to clean its pipeline. Go dabble a ball of rolled up burlap or paper or a specially fabricated device put into pump end of a pipeline and forced through pipe by water pressure to clean pipeline. A device used with tremie concrete operation. Grab setting is flash setting. Preferred term is. Then gradation is preferred term. Grade is prepared surface on which a concrete slab is cast. Process of preparing plain surface of granular material or soil on which to cast a concrete slab. Grade. The prepared surface on which a concrete slab is cast. Process of preparing a plain surface of granular material or soil on which to cast a concrete slab. Grade beam, RCC beam, usually at ground level, that strengthens or stiffens foundations or support overlying construction. Grade is a prepared surface on which a concrete slab is cast. Process of preparing a plain surface of granular material or soil on which to cast a concrete slab. Grade beam is reinforced concrete beam, usually located at ground level, that strengthens or stiffens foundation or supports overlying construction. Grade step, usually a thin strip of wood tacked to inside surface of forms at elevation to which top of concrete lift is to rise, either at construction joint or top of structure. In a variable over a distance. Gradient, rate of change in variable over a distance. Distribution of particles of granular material, this grading distribution of particles of granular material among various sizes. And grading curve, a graphical representation of proportions of different particle sizes in a granular material obtained by plotting cumulative or individual percentages of a material passing through sieves in which aperture size form a given series. A graphic representation of proportions of different particle sizes in a granular material obtained by plotting cumulative or individual percentages of material passing through sieves in which aperture sizes form a given series. Granulithic concrete. Granulithic concrete. Concrete suitable for use as wearing surface. Granulithic finish, can say granulithic concrete suitable for use as wearing surface, finished to floors, made with specially selected aggregates of suitable hardness, surface, texture and particle shape. Granulithic finish, surface layer of granulithic concrete that may be laid on a base of any Graphic concrete, you can say concrete suitable for use as wearing surface, finished floors made with specially selected aggregate of suitable hardness, surface texture and vertical shape. The graphic finish, the surface layer of graphic concrete that may be laid on a base of either fresh or hardened concrete, and we can say now granulated blast furnaces. Gravel. I don't know why it's calling. Gravel retained on 4.75 mm gravel aggregate retained on 4.75 mm Cu and resulting either from natural disintegration and abrasion of rock or processing of weakly bound conglomerate. So its definition of gravel is retained on 4.75 mm, means it's more than 4.75 mm size, which is usually called number 4, and resulting either from natural disintegration abrasion of rock or processing of weakly bound conglomerates. Green concrete, concrete that has undergone final setting but not hardened appreciably. Concrete that has undergone final setting but not hardened appreciably. Grid foundation. Grid foundation. Let me see percentage of charge left. Grid foundation, a combined footing formed by intersecting continuous footings. A combined footing formed by intersecting continuous footings loaded at intersection points and covering much of total area within outer limits of assembly. Grid foundation. It's important term. Grid foundation, combined footing formed by intersecting continuous footings loaded at intersection points and covering much of total area within outer limits of assembly. So we can say grinding. We say grid foundation. We have explained grinding is intentional removal of visually apparent amount of surface paste to create a profile on surface. Intentional removal of visually apparent amount of surface paste to create a profile on surface. Grinding medium. Grinding slightly, let's aid first. Materials used to expedite processing of grinding by eliminating hull coating, dispersing finely ground products or both. comes in as grinding. I said we said in grinding is intentional removal of a visually apparent amount of surface paste to create a profile on surface. Grinding aids materials used to expedite process of grinding by eliminating bulk coating, dispersing finely grounded product or both. So this grinding aids materials used to expedite process of grinding by eliminating you can say bulk coatings, just to let something else. It's there material used to expedite process of grinding by eliminating bulk coating, dispersing finely ground product or both. Grinding medium. Grinding medium, a hard free moving charge, a hard free moving charge in a ball or tube mill to reduce particle size of introduced materials by attrition or impaction. So it is, you can say, ground. This is grinding medium is a hard free moving charge in a ball or tube mill to reduce particle size of introduced materials by attrition or impact. Grizzly, a simple stationary screen or series of equally spaced parallel bars, especially series of equally spaced parallel bars set at an angle to remove oversized particles in processing aggregate or other. GROG, GROG, burned refractory material, usually calcined clay or crushed brick bat. Burned refractory material, usually calcined clay or crushed brick bats. GROG. Groove joint, control joint. Groover, a tool. Groover is a tool used to form grooves or weakened plane joints. Groover is a tool joints in a concrete slab before final setting to control crack location or provide ground wire. Ground wire. Again, same problem of video and audio. Signals are down. Ground wire. Small gauge. High strength. Small gauge. High strength steel wire used to establish line and grade as to shotcrete work, also called alignments wire and screed wire, ground wire. We have here ground granulated blast furnace slag cement we said before, and then grout as we said before, mixture of cementitious materials and water. Mixture of cementitious materials and water or other binding medium with fine aggregate. Mixture of cementitious materials and water or other binding medium with fine aggregate. Grout slope. Natural slope of fluid grout. Natural slope of fluid grout injected into replaced aggregate concrete. Natural slope of fluid grout injected into replaced aggregates concrete. Grouted masonry. As I said, grouts. This says, I'm sorry, we got somewhere wrong, I think. It's gone. I don't know where it's gone. I think we've gone wrong way. Something wrong is somewhere, Grout is there. Something happens sometimes. Grout, yes. It's this mixture of cementitious materials and water or the binding medium with fine aggregate and grout slope. So grout from slab and grout slope. Natural slope of fluid. Grout is mixture of cementitious materials, water or the binding medium with fine aggregate, and grout slope is natural slope of fluid grout injected into pre-placed aggregate concrete. Grout slope is natural slope of fluid grout injected into pre-placed aggregate concrete. Grout masonry unit measurement. Grout masonry is unit measurement composed of either hollow units wherein cells are filled with grout, or multiple voids where spaces between voids are filled with grout. Grout with masonry. Unit masonry composed of either hollow units wherein cells are filled with grout, or multiple voids. Grout with aggregate concrete and grouting. Process of filling grout. Grout is grouting and gun, shotcrete material, deliver equipment, pressure cylinder used to propel freshly mixed concrete pneumatically. Pressure cylinder used to propel freshly mixed concrete pneumatically. And gun finish, undisturbed final layer of shotcrete, undisturbed final layer of shotcrete is applied from nozzle without hand finishing. Gun finish. Gunite, a proprietary term for shotcrete, that is gunite. A proprietary term for shotcrete. Gunmen, workers on shotcreting crew who operate delivery equipment. Gunning, act of applying dry mix shotcrete and gypsum plaster. Because gypsum is a mineral having composition calcium sulfate dihydrate. Calcium sulfate dihydrate CaSO4 2H2O. That is mineral having composition calcium sulfate dihydrate CaSO4 2H2O. Hairline crack. Concrete surface crack with a width so small as to be barely perceptible. Hairline crack, a concrete surface crack with width so small as to be barely perceptible. Hairpin wedge used to tighten some types of foam ties. Wedge used to tighten some types of foam ties. A hairpin shaped anchor set in place before concrete reaches initial setting. Wedge used to tighten some type of foam ties. In hairpin shaped anchor set in place before concrete reaches initial setting. A light hairpin shaped reinforcing bar used for shear reinforcement. Hairpin, we said, a light hairpin shaped reinforcing bar used for shear reinforcement in beams. Tie reinforcement in columns or prefabricated column shear heads. Hairpin. Wedge used to tighten some types of foam ties or hairpin shaped anchor set in place before concrete reaches final setting, initial setting. Hairpin shaped anchor set in place before concrete reaches final setting. Light hairpin shaped reinforcing bars used for shear reinforcement in beams. Tie reinforcement in columns are prefabricated column shear heads. So we can say hairpin. Light hairpin shaped reinforcing bars used for shear reinforcement in beams and reinforcement in columns. Ham tip. Flared shotcrete nozzle having a large diameter at midpoint. Then at either inlet or outlet. Flared shotcrete nozzle having a large diameter at midpoint, then at inlet, either inlet or outlet, designated premising tip. So ham tip it is. Hanger is a device used to suspend one object from another object. Now we have here ham to tip. hamp tip we call it. Flared shotcrete nozzle having a large diameter at midpoint, as we said before. Hangers advise you to suspend one object from another one. Hard burnt line. Hard burnt line. Product, you can say product of heating limestone. Hard burnt line is product of heating limestone to temperature sufficient to change calcium carbonate to calcium oxide. Calcium carbonate to calcium oxide, which can undergo expansion when it slowly reacts with water. Calcium carbonate to calcium oxide after heating, which can undergo expansion when it slowly reacts with water. To serve a defined purpose or resist stipulated loading without failure. Hardened concrete. Hardened concrete, concrete that has developed sufficient strength to serve a defined purpose, or resist stipulated loading without failure. Hardened concrete that has developed sufficient purpose. Hardened concrete that has developed sufficient strength to serve a defined purpose for resist sulfated stipulated loading without failure. Hardener, a chemical including certain fluorosilicates. Hardener, a chemical including certain fluorosilicates or sodium silicate applied to concrete floors to reduce wear and dusting. Say chemical hardeners, chemical including certain fluorosilicates or sodium silicate. Fluorosilicate or sodium silicate applied to concrete floors to reduce wear and dusting in a two-component adhesive or coating. Chemical component that causes resin component to cure. The two-component adhesive or coating, chemical component that causes resin component to cure. Hardening. And gain of a gain of strength and other properties of cementitious mixture as a result of hydration after final setting. Hardy cross method, we know moment distribution matter in theory of structure, and harped tendons, wrapped tendons. Harsh mixture, a concrete mixture that lacks desired workability. Harsh mix, we can say it. A concrete mix that lacks desired workability due to a deficiency of mortar or aggregate, which are fines, deficiency of mortar or fine aggregates or aggregate fines. Haunch, a deepened portion of a beam, in vicinity of support. Haunch, a deepened portion of a beam in vicinity of support. And hawk, a tool used by plasterers to hold and carry plaster mortar. Tool used by plasterers to hold and carry plaster mortar. Generally a flat piece of wood or metal approximately 0.25 to 0.3 meter square with a wooden handle centered and fixed to underside. That's how piece of steel of any shape, separate piece of steel of any shape firmly attached to end of a bar. A separate piece of steel of whatever shape attached to end of a bar or a protuberance of bar itself at end. A separate piece of steel of shape firmly attached, whatever shape firmly attached to end of a bar or protuberance of a bar itself at end, protuberance of bar at itself end, used to anchor a steel reinforcing bar in concrete. Head anchorage capacity, maximum force that can be transmitted from head of bar to surrounding concrete. Head anchorage capacity, maximum force that can be transmitted from head of a bar to surrounding concrete. Head bearing area, area of head projected onto a plane orthogonal to longitudinal axis. Area of head projected onto a plane orthogonal to a longitudinal axis of bar minus bar cross sectional area representing contact surface between head and concrete, where bar tensile force is transferred through compression stress. Headed bar, a steel reinforcing bar. Headed bar is a steel reinforcing bar that has steel heads. A steel reinforcing bar that has steel heads, one on one or both ends, with purpose of anchoring bar in concrete. Header, a masonry unit laid flat with its greatest dimension at right angle to face of wall. absorbed when a substance is dissolved. Heat evolved or is absorbed when a substance has an arbitrary deflection. Temperature at which heat deflection it is. Temperature at which a plastic material has an arbitrary deflection when subject to an arbitrary load and test condition. This is an indication of glass transition temperatures. Temperature at which a plastic material has arbitrary reflection when subject to an arbitrary load and test condition. This is an indication of glass transition temperature. Heating rate. Rate expressed in degrees per hour. Rate expressed as degrees per hour. Degrees per hours at which heating rate expressed in degrees per hour at which temperature is raised to desired maximum temperature. Heavy media separation. A method in which liquid or suspension of given specific gravity is used. A method in which a liquid or suspension of given specific gravity is used to separate particles into a portion lighter than those that float and portion heavier than those that sink or medium. This is separation, media separation. Heavyweight aggregate. Heavy media separation, heavyweight aggregate like you can say high density aggregates such as barite, magnetite, hematite, limonite, ilmenite, ebenite, iron, steel used in heavyweight concrete, and high density concrete, heavyweight concrete. You can say helical reinforcement spiral reinforcement, helical reinforcement, hematite, a mineral oxide, a mineral iron oxide, Fe2O3, hematite, mineral iron oxide, Fe2O3 used as aggregate in high density concrete and in finely divided form as red pigment in colored concrete, that is hematite, mineral iron oxide, Fe2O3 uses aggregate in high density concrete and in finely divided form as red pigment in colored concrete. Hemihydrate is hydrate to one molecule of compound, partially dehydrated gypsum, also known as plaster of Paris, calcium sulfate, half H2O, half molecule of water to one molecule of compound. Known as cement, calcium aluminate cement. High density concrete of substantially higher density than that made using normal density aggregate, usually obtained by use of high density aggregate and used specially for radiation shielding. High density aggregate, I see. Concrete of substantially higher density than made using normal density aggregate, usually obtained by use of high density aggregate and used especially for radiation shielding. High discharge mixer. We have higherly strength cement, Portland cement, characterized by attaining a given level of strength in mortar concrete earlier than thus normal Portland cement does ASTM C150 or C150M type 3. High early strength concrete, concrete that through use of additional cement, higher concrete that through use of additional cement, higherly strength cement or mixtures has accelerated early strength development. High early strength says concrete that through use of additional cement, high early strength cement or admixtures has accelerated early age strength development. That is concrete that uses additional cement. You can use high early cement or admixture has accelerated early strength and can say here concrete that through use of additional cement, high strength cement or admixture has accelerated early strength development. High fineness cement, hydraulic cement of substantially higher specific surface. High fineness cement, hydraulic cement of substantially higher specific surface and substantially smaller mean particle diameter and typical for products of similar composition produced by additional grinding or by space separation of by particle size. High fine cement is hydraulic cement of substantially higher specification, specific surface area and substantially smaller mean particle diameter than typical for products of similar composition produced by additional grinding or by separation by particle size. High lift grouting. High lift grouting, a technique in masonry wall. A technique in masonry wall construction in which grouting operation is delayed until wall has been laid up to a full story height. A technique in masonry wall construction in which grouting operation is delayed until the wall has been laid up to full story. You can say high lift grouting, a technique in masonry wall construction which grouting operation is delayed until wall has been laid up to a full story height and high performance. High performance concrete. Concrete meeting special combinations of performance and uniformity. Concrete meeting special combinations of performance and uniformity requirements that cannot always be achieved routinely using conventional constituents and normal mixing, placing and curing practices. Then we can say high performance steam curing. As I say, high performance concrete meeting special combination of performance and uniformity requirements that cannot always be achieved routinely using conventional constituents and normal mixing, placing and curing practices. High performance steam curing. High performance steam curing, articular curing we discussed. Then you can say H water reducing mixture. I think we are gone somewhere wrongly here. Let us see. Let us pull this high performance concrete was there. High pressure steam curing, auto flame curing, and you say, oh, high performance यार ये क्या होता है इसमें? High performance concrete we have done. Autoclaving is there. And this is a high range water reducing admixture. High range water reducing admixture. High range water reducing admixture. A water reducing admixture capable of producing large water reduction or great flowability without causing undue set retardation or entrainment of air in mortar concrete. So I can say water reducing admixture capable of producing a large water reduction or great flowability without causing undue set retardation or entrainment of air in water. Concrete and high strength concrete has a specified construction strength, that is 55 MPa. Point. What is this here? What is this? I don't know what is this. What's happening here? It is gone. See, somebody have come. 37 it was. So high strength concrete is 55 MPa, high strength reinforcement and high strength steel, that is steel with high yield point, that is 414 MPa or 15 MPa, you can say 14 MPa or greater. High steel, you can say high strength steel, high temperature steam curing, atmospheric pressure steam curing and earthquake curing, hard V-shaped trough or tray, you can say. Let me put it a little down better. Hard V-shaped tray, trough or a tray supported by a pole handle that is borne on carrier's shoulder for carrying small quantities of brick, mortar or similar load. V-shaped trough or tray supported by pole handle that's borne on carrier's shoulder for carrying out small quantity of brick, tile, mortar or suitable load. Now, what time is left? Let me see. It's 2:42. I have some, you can say, hold down high temperature steam curing we have done, hard we have done, hold down bolt, anchor bolt provided near ends of shear walls, anchor bolts, hold down bolts, anchor bolts provided near shear ends of shear walls for transferring boundary member loads from shear walls to foundation. Hold down bolts, anchor bolts provided near ends of shear walls for transferring boundary member loads from shear wall to foundations. That is hold down bolts. Hold down bolts, I think it will be a little logical going now for 5-10 minutes. I think it could. Well, problem high down bolt. Let me see what is that actually. High down bolts for shear wall. We can say the hold down bolt here. High down bolt. Shear walls, high down bolts. Hold down bolts, hold down bolts. bolts on the sides of foundation anchor, plywood nailed for a high capacity shear wall, shear transfer tie, foundation anchors, placed every 2 feet plywood location. Short shear wall is difficult to bolt. Short shear wall side. A short shear wall can't use bolts. Short cripple walls are quite common in seismic retrofits and they must be bolted using bolt substitute hardware normally used for houses that have a cripple wall. Below is photo where short shear wall prevents bolt drilling equipment. 2. Short shear wall force seismic retrofit contractor to forego standard retrofit foundation bolts and use bolt substitutes instead. These bolt substitutes attached to sides of foundation must be used. These bolt substitutes are used where there is no enough vertical clearance for drilling equipment to fit. In cases of foundation anchors are used instead of bolts and are equally strong. Use plywood that has been nailed to achieve maximum earthquake resistance. There should be one foundation anchor placed every 2 feet. And this is what here. Here what you say. So shear transfer side tying it is, and we can say is also, we can say here is this, and we can say other one also here. Let's say what's that, lower sharing shear wall. Then we have this shear wall here, shearwallmaker.com. Hold on structures. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Meanwhile, you can go through this. It's an important one. Let us say hold on structure. Minutes please. 20 minutes please. I'll be back. My charging is enough. It's 82%, so it's okay. 5 minutes. I'll be back. hold down structural engineering, hold down structural engineering. What is special in this? In fact, we have to see this fact also, that hold down bolt, we're talking of hold down or tie down in structural engineering refers to steel device or hardware that is installed at end of plywood shear wall. Hold down provides uplift resistance against overturning moment imposed on wall due to in-plane lateral loads applied at top of walls. The hold down may also refer to clamping device used to anchor a pipe to a structural steel element or concrete floor or allow movement of pipe in axial direction. We can say here, what's that is hold down. You may see that hold down, clamp or anchor, and this is hold down, very easy. Tie down structural engineers refer to steel device or hardware that's installed at end of plywood shear wall. Hold down provides, well, this is means say hold downs provide uplift resistance against overturning moment imposed on wall due to in-plane lateral load applied at top of wall. Hold down may also refer to clamping device used to anchor a pipe to a structural steel element or concrete floor or allow movement of pipe in axial direction. At bottom, hold down is connected to concrete foundation or structural slab. So that's what is very common. So we can keep it off now for time being. And this is all, so hold down structural engineering. We can say now go back to, we can close it also. Hold down bolt we have gone through. Anchor bolt provided near ends of shear walls for transferring boundary member loads from shear wall to foundation. Hollow unit masonry. CH generally call that concrete hollow unit. Because masonry consists of entirely of partially hollow masonry unit laid in mortar. Hollow unit masonry consisting of either entirely or partially hollow masonry unit laid in mortar. Honeycomb voids left in concrete. Honeycomb voids left in concrete between coarse aggregate is due to inadequate consolidation. Honeycomb roughness on surface also, and you can say honeycomb voids left in concrete between coarse aggregates due to inadequate consolidation. Honeycomb it is means complete not correct consolidation, compaction. Honeycomb voids left in concrete between coarse aggregate due to inadequate consolidation. Hook a band in end of a reinforcing bar, and Hooke's law strains within elastic limit. Law for strains within elastic limit. The strain is proportional to stress producing it. Stress is law for strains with elastic limit, that strain is proportional to stress producing it. And hooked bar, reinforcing bar with end bent into a hook to provide anchorage. Hoop reinforcement, closed or continuous wound tie, a closed or continuous wound tie, each having hooks meeting seismic detailing equal requirements. And horizontal shoring, metal or wood load. You may say wood shoring is metal or wood load carrying strut, beam or truss section used to carry a shoring load from one bearing point column floor. we here say actually metal or wood load carrying structural beam, metal or wood load carrying metal or wood load carrying strut beam or truss section used to carry a shoring load from one bearing point, column, frame, post or wall to another may be adjustable. Metal or wood load, metal or wood load carrying strut beam or truss section used to carry a shoring load from one bearing point, column base, column frame, post or wall to another. Horizontal shaft mixer. Horizontal shaft mixer. A mixer having a stationary cylindrical mixing compartment. A mixer having a stationary cylindrical mixing compartment with axis of cylinder horizontal and one or more rotating horizontal shafts to which mixing blades of paddle are attached. Horizontal shaft mixer and hot cement. Newly manufactured cement that has not had an opportunity to cool after grinding of clinker. Hot cement. Hot cement it is, and we have newly manufactured cement that has not an opportunity to cool after grinding clinker. Hard face, surface of refractory section exposed to source of heat is called hot face. Hot load test. A test for determining resistance. A test for determining resistance to deformation or shear of a refractory material when subject to specified compressive load at a specified temperature for a specified time. This is what we have gone through today about issue of concrete terminology. It's interesting at least to go through what we learned in engineering and also in practical life. There's no end. Definition of quality, understanding quality, interpretation of quality, all those are important terms. We have to see all that. It's no way you can say something is over. Nothing is over. Repetition is not a big problem, and we can understand what is and what's not. That's where we stand to learn, to refresh all time. It's very important point. I want to quality in our country. Major deliberation in this regard is very important to understand, review. And of course, page 37 of this 80 pages, hot cement. We have to understand what to do with that. Really interesting point, and we have to understand how to revise, how to update, how to understand, and how to simplify Importance to understand quality criteria in practical life, not in just educational life, in practical work, which is end product, and without which whatever work we do before, prior to quality at site, there exists no meaning of that if it's not implemented. Highest level of designs, highest levels of planning, highest levels of quantification, highest levels of everything, specifications, all are futile attempts if quality is not worked upon. Therefore, my message again is, you have to be serious, you have to understand quality. Where does it exist? Where does quality exist? Where does quality exist? I have to say, we have to understand this point. And we have to find out where it is, what's the problem, why we are not getting it. It's very important today. And with this, I take this opportunity. I will see again on this issue and see what is to be done. That's all I say. Thank you very much.